Yeah, sure. Just and then we can go back to normal after those first three. Is that dumb enough to do?
Yeah.
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I don't know what I said. I'm distracted. So.
No,
Just say
you
sure.
said sure. That's it.
Sure.
That's your line. No, after I say my line. All right. Howdy, fellas. Are you ready to engage in a children's game for sport and profit?
Sure.
You know it.
And with that, welcome to the Redux of Gen 1 in the Gameboys Poke Podcast. I'm your host, Dolan Malna, and with me today are Austin and Christian. Fellas, is this road starting to feel a little familiar? Is life feeling like it's starting to repeat itself? Do you feel like you've walked down this path before? Christian, tell me what you're thinking right now. What are we doing here?
I haven't seen this road since I was a younger man. It's familiar and yet completely different.
Oh man, wow. Brilliant thoughts with Christian. We have deep philosophical thoughts. Austin, can you add to the philosophy happening here?
I am no philosopher, but the road is very familiar, yet much smoother.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. Well, fellas, that's because we've been here before. This is a remake of the first games, the Generation 1 Pokemon games, in Gen 3. That's what we're doing. Wow, dear viewers. If you clicked on this without looking at the title, how did you get here? But also, thank you. That's what's happening here. So we're talking about, of course, FireRed and LeafGreen. This is our fourth game through, and we're still feeling Poketacular, I think. So, I don't have a show map because I'm going to be honest, guys. I know I'm showing my hand a little bit here. I'm not entirely sure what to talk about. I've been racking my brains about this, and I think, well, what do I usually talk about? And I usually talk about development history. God love them, I couldn't find much. They were like, yep, we sure wanted those Gen 1 Pokemon in Gen 3. That's kind of the development history. And I thought, well, I'll talk about the story. Well, we already did that. You know, it's the same story. And I thought, don't worry, ace up the sleeve. Hidden mechanical depth. Except for I kind of went all over the mechanic. It's just the Ruby and Sapphire mechanics. That's all that's going on here, fellas. So, I hope you can be far more entertaining than me. Is there anything just itching in your craw to talk about? Either one of you, or do we just go on to Pokemon teams? Austin, tell me what you're feeling.
Well, I mean, I do have one particularly interesting event that occurred during my playthrough, if now isn't a good time to cover such things.
Thank goodness, give me something. I'm grasping at straws here, man.
You know, I get to use a team of 3 this time, which is very nice, instead of having a lowly single Pikachu that can't do anything. But I still had to make sure my team was worthy to be on my team and be able to make it through this game. So I can't remember after how many gyms I had to beat. I am going to assume it was after the second gym.
Well, wait, real quick. We should tell the we made it to 4th gym. That's how far we went in this one. That's worth letting people.
4 gyms have been felled.
Yeah. So continue. Yeah.
So anyway, I think it's somewhere after Gym 2, wherever the Diglett Cave starts. I had my team was needing to get leveled up in order to keep up with the gym levels so I can actually survive. So I decided to put them through the grueling Diglett trials, where each single one of them would have to fight in the Diglett Cave by themselves until they met with the legendary Doug Trio boss. And then in order to pass the trial, they had to 1v1 the Doug Trio. And only until then, and only when each member of my team has defeated their own Doug Trio, were they considered worthy to remain on the team and move on.
Wow, you had some, like, spiritual waterfall training going on over there.
Yes, and now my team is very strong and very good as a result.
That's honestly fantastic. Christian, before we go into teams, any memorable, because it's the same game, anything memorable, different, worthy you think of talking about right now?
I have some fun facts. I don't know if now is a good time for it or if I should hold them off for later.
I'm gonna trust your intuition on that. You can either hit it up or you can hold them close to the chest. I believe in you.
I mean, I thought one thing that was interesting, this is a fun fact, but it's also something that I noticed through the playthrough, is in this version, I guess they did it to maintain how it was in the original Gen 1, but there's not a day and night cycle.
Yes, yeah.
I thought that was interesting, since that mechanic is something that got introduced as we moved through the gens. I kind of expected us to be able to experience that day versus night in the Gen 1, Gen 3, but we didn't. So,
well, what's interesting is it wasn't just to be like the first one. I don't know if y'all noticed, but Ruby and Sapphire didn't have a day-night system either, actually.
oh, you're right.
Yeah, so that's just kind of... We just did that with Crystal and Gold and Silver, and then we just kind of... Well, already, people complain a lot about gimmicks being introduced and then dropped. That's a very modern complaint, but it turns out it was there from the beginning, apparently. So yeah, I guess a little bit... I'll jump into a little bit of background. The little bit of background I was able to dig up, if you fellas are okay with that.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So what's really interesting is obviously there's a big talking about parallels to modern Pokemon. A big complaint right now is Dexit, which kind of happened around the Switch era, where we lost a lot of Pokemon. They weren't able to make the transfer for quite some time. Every Pokemon from previous games was able to be brought in and brought up eventually. But the jump from Gen 2 to Gen 3, as we mentioned last time, we lost a lot of Pokemon. So these fellas are thinking, as they're making their games, like, hey, most of the Pokemon that aren't here are Kanto ones, because Johto introduced far fewer Pokemon, and a lot of those were still in Ruby and Sapphire. And so they're thinking, hey, to get those Pokemon over and to bring back the longtime fans, because at this point Pokemania has started to die down. The hype had well and truly wasn't that Pokemon's still the most wealthy franchise, ever, most profitable franchise ever, but it wasn't quite at the levels that it was back in the first two generations. So they're like, well, we need something to bring back people that have left, and also we happen to be missing all of the Gen 1 Pokemon, so what if we remade Gen 1? And that kind of is what birthed this. But what's wild to me is that that's the whole point of this game existing, more or less, is let's bring back those old heads and let's make it so that, the new guys that have jumped in with Ruby and Sapphire can finally finish the whole Pokedex. Gotta catch them all, even though they've taken that off of the marketing, as you mentioned before. But there's a bit of an unfun fact about this one, which is that you can't trade in this game with FireRed and LeafGreen can trade with each other. But you can't trade to Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, or any of the Gen 4 games later. Not just until you've beaten this game, but until you have beaten the post-game islands, actually. You just straight up cannot trade. And what's even more horrifying is after you've beaten the post-game trade and it allows you to trade with Emerald and Ruby and Sapphire, you are locked out of trading with FireRed and LeafGreen copies that have not beaten the post-game. So trading is wildly restricted in this one. I think I've mentioned part of my unofficial challenge is I love to bring over one Pokemon from a previous generation to the next as part of my team, and I straight up cannot do that because my ability to actually bring previous Pokemon, even from Ruby and Sapphire, is just straight up locked out at this point. It cannot be done until the post game, so that's kind of an unfortunate oversight. I don't like that. But is what it is. They were trying to... In fact, it's so bad that, they introduced new evolutions to Pokemon, like in Gen 2 and 3, like Goldbat, I believe. No, not Goldbat. Crobat, right? The third evolution. Mm-hmm. What's even more horrifying is if you get your Golbat in this game, and you get to where it could evolve, like it would in Gen 2. It starts to evolve every single time you level it up. It goes, what? For some reason, it stopped evolving. And this will happen automatically. That cutscene will play every individual level up until you beat the post-game, where he will suddenly be allowed to evolve. It is well and truly an interesting, and by that I mean bad decision on their parts. But, again, kind of show... Well, we'll talk about it more later, but I will say... as much as people like to complain about this, tipping my hand a little bit, I would, if I'm going to point someone to start the series, even though this could be a lot better, I'm going to probably start him here versus Gen 1, to be honest, from what we've played so far. It's been a much smoother experience, as Austin alluded to earlier, I think, so. Yeah. I'm trying to think of any other little history I've got here. Nope. I think it's mostly just fun facts. Presentation-wise, it looks a lot like Ruby and Sapphire. I think the music is actually better than in Ruby and Sapphire. I thought that was nice. Presentation-wise, we mentioned kind of looks like modern Pokemon, and that carries over here. It's a wildly different game solely because Psychic is not a broken, unstoppable force of death and destruction. So just that one change alone does make it a wildly different game. And once every 3 years, they'll throw in a double battle or some other feature that's later. Oh, an interesting fact also related to it, Austin, and then I'll end off here. You mentioned your Doug Trio, your Diglett Doug Trio trials. That's because that was in the original game, but abilities are here from the 3rd gen. And some of the Doug Trio and Diglett abilities are you cannot leave.
Yep.
Just you have to fight. So it's great that you went there to train, but for those of us that are just trying to get through to see our families, it's quite a different experience due to those abilities. So that is.
You didn't sign up for that cage match.
No, yeah, that's exactly right. Well, I know that was do we just want to jump into teams, fellas? Or is there anything else before we hit?
Let's go teams.
Let's go teams.
All right. I've been chatting my butt off, so I don't want to go first. So you two decide.
Christian, you go.
I have a very extensive, very detailed team that's going to take me the next 45 minutes to explain, so sit tight.
All right. Settle in.
So, I was looking through the Pokemon. My rules are, unless there's a new evolution, I cannot recatch anything that I've already caught. So,
which is why we all got different starters than the last time we went through this.
Yes, exactly. So my starter, I got Charmander. I decided to name him Prince.
Oh.
I
like it.
Yeah, I thought that was I just felt like that fit him. He is a valiant warrior. And he is very strong, and he is the only Pokemon I have that's not an HM slave right now.
So you're playing this 8-year-old edition, basically.
Not intentionally. I just looking through the decks, all the other Pokemon that I want to get are post Gym 4. So I've just been... And I don't have any level restrictions like you do. So... By Gym 4, I am rocking a level 56 Charizard. So let's just say the Grass Gym did not give me any trouble.
Oh, man.
And then
Yeah, you didn't even have to struggle with Brock like I did.
Yeah. I have...
Because they give you Metal Claw in this game.
Yeah, exactly. I haven't struggled with any of the gym leaders.
Oh.
So I have him, and then I have, I think, a level 9 Paris, because he can learn Flash and Cut. And I picked up a Rattata, because there's another HM that I know we're going to get soon that he can learn. And I just figured I'd hold on to him until I get to the point where I get the team I actually want. So,
Austin, he's stealing your moves, man.
Yeah, but he sounds like he's having a much better time because Charizard is so much better than a Pikachu.
Charizard is fantastic. Well, that is a complex team. I'm glad you were able to sum it up so well for us because, a lot of... So you're looking for... How do you know how quickly after Gym 4 you can get some more of your members that you want?
I know... I think a couple of them I should be able to catch pretty quick, because it kind of opens up after Gym 4.
Yes, it does, for sure.
I think by Gym 5 I should have caught at least 2 more, if I'm not mistaken. But we'll see. We'll find out next episode.
On the next episode. Alright. Austin, I'll let you go next, because I want to save my dramatic reveal for the end.
Alright, so unlike Christian, I have my entire team. I got it by
wow.
Gym 3. Started off with Squirtle, which is so much better than a Pikachu. I know I sound like a broken record, but I cannot iterate how awesome it is to not have a Pikachu. And he is already a Blastoise by this point.
Holy heck. What's his name?
His name is, in keeping it semi-related to Gen 1, this is Luke. Leia's Luke Skywalker.
Oh,
Nice.
okay. I like that.
Yeah, and then very shortly after starting the game, I caught the second member of my team, which is Leia, which is currently a primate.
Is it even a female primate?
Yes, it's a female primate.
Okay.
I mean, the names don't really associate well with the Pokemon itself. It's just I picked my trio of names, and it's just the Pokemon I decided to go for. So, Primeape is my second Pokemon. Primeape has been serving me very well. And then for my third Pokemon, I started to utilize a mechanic in the game that I have not utilized, I don't think, ever to my memory, which is trading with an NPC. So around Gym 3, I had to hunt down an Abra in order to trade it with somebody back on Route 2, I think it was, in order to get the third member of my team, which is Han, Mr. Mime.
Oh, really? Oh, yes. Why would you pick Mr. Mime? He's horrifying.
Indeed, which is why I thought this would be the surprise to you guys. I hate clowns.
Oh, yeah, what
I decided to
flip
pick
is
Mr.
going?
Mime because I thought,
Why?
I have never used this Pokemon before. Neither have I used Mankey. So I thought, I'm going to try to use Pokemon I've never used before, and also try to utilize a system I've never utilized before. And what I have experienced is the painful reality of Pokemon not obeying you when you get them for trading.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Han Solo, through trying to get to Gym 4, like between 3 and 4, refused to do anything I told him to do. It was so painful. Until now he actually listens to me, because I think I can go up to level 50 Pokemon now, but oh man, it was only from up to level 30 between Gym 3 and 4, and he was level 31 when I beat Gym 3, so he had an attitude.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, fellas, I don't know about you, but it's been a while since we've played Gym 1. Gen 1. Hasn't it, Mm-hmm. I don't know about you, but I think we've forgotten some of our roots. Specifically, you two have forgotten some of your roots. That's where I've come here to pick up the slack. My team is made out of the discarded remnants of what you two have left behind in your desire to go forward. So to start off, I have a Bulbasaur. Now, Christian, you previously had a Bulbasaur, did you not?
Yes, I did.
What was his name?
Billy.
His name was Billy. Well, guess what? I have his brother William, the Bulbasaur.
No!
I have William the Bulbasaur. Yeah, no, but he's not the only one, because guess who else I caught in Viridian Forest immediately after? Austin.
The worst Pokemon on your
Pikachu.
team.
A Pikachu. You know what? Not just any Pikachu, the wife of your Pikachu that you promised to take to fame and fortune but gave up. He never came home, and he had a wife at home. So my Pikachu's name is the Forgotten One, and she's on my team now. So that's my second one. But that's not it. I couldn't stop there. There were other Hall of Famers who had been neglected in their time. Christian, you promised never to bring them with you, never to carry on. You just get your little victory and then leave them behind. So, you had another friend on this journey, right? I believe one Nido Burrito, is that correct?
Not Nido Burrito.
No, not Nido Burrito. His cousin, Taco Bell Boy, is on my team now. So yes, I now have a Nidoking named Taco Bell Boy. And then the theme kind of falls apart, because then I just got a Vulpix that I named. Okay, this is kind of an inside joke. I have to explain this. So a while ago, people were really trying to hype up the manga and anime Boruto, which is a sequel to Naruto, and people posted a thing that's like, all right, Boruto's finally going to team up with Boruto's dad. And they wouldn't call him Naruto, they called him Boruto's dad for some reason. Everyone made fun of that for a while. So because this Vulpix is a female named Ninetales, I named it Boruto's mom. Just because just as a... So I have a Ninetales named Boruto's mom. That's my team. Like I said, the theming kind of falls apart after that, but I thought, since I had to have so many Pokemon that overlapped, I didn't have to, because I wanted so many Pokemon that overlapped with what y'all did, and I kind of felt like I was just treading the same ground. I decided to make a theme around the Left Behind family of the champions that never came home. And they're coming to beat you guys, and finally see their families, and take justice for that.
Bring it.
So
I'm crying.
That's my team. Did Taco Bell Boy? I feel like that's the one that broke
That's
you.
the best one.
So that's my team.
Oh no.
I've got 2 more I plan on getting, but I can't get them till after the 4th gym. So yeah, man, I'm having a hard time with this generation, so I was at least trying to make it funny. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
yeah.
my
So
Lord.
honestly, I kind of do. I was a little bit nervous about like just doing repeats and how boring this is gonna be, but honestly, everyone's got a really funny or interesting theme for their team, so I'm a little more interested to see how this shapes up now, to be honest. That fight at the end is gonna be wild. Because this time I'm training them up. I'm not stopping at level 50 or whatever. We're going all the way to the top, baby.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I feel like this is a perfect place to maybe talk about some of those fun facts if you've got them. Kind of moving on. I got a couple fun facts when you're done too.
Yeah.
But Christian, do you think you're up for your fun facts here?
Oh, I'm ready.
Okay, hit me.
So first off, this is just in terms of FireRed and LeafGreen sales-wise. I thought the sales numbers of these was very interesting, especially how quickly, within the first week of release, over 900,000 copies were sold in Japan. That nearly sold them out, and that was 95.6% of the stock that they had at the time.
Oh, they did not stock up for that, did they, though?
They did not. But you know what?
Wow.
They turned around and sold even more in the US. North America accounted for roughly 3 million. Total Japan was... Japan was 3 million. North America was 4 million. And all of Europe was just under 3 million. So FireRed and LeafGreen had some high sales numbers.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a pretty cool fact.
That is.
Yeah, and then the other thing that I thought was interesting, So with FireRed and LeafGreen, yes, it's Gen 3 Pokemon, but only 3 Gen 3 Pokemon can actually be caught in FireRed and LeafGreen. Does anyone want to take a guess as to any of the 3?
Wait, okay, I gotta ask, this is slightly cheating. Does this, are we counting events and legendaries? Or not? Are they legendary Pokemon or not?
One of them is.
Okay, I'm gonna say Deoxys is one of them.
Yes.
Okay.
Any guesses, Austin?
No.
So the other...
I know there's the Deoxys event. It's the only one I know.
So there's the Deoxys, and then the other Pokemon was Azurill and Why Not.
Wait, were they events too, or You don't have to know. That's okay.
I don't.
But that's just the only.
I don't think there were events.
Huh.
I think those are just the only. I think
Maybe they're in the
Azurill and Why
post-game or
Not are
something.
post game, if I'm not mistaken.
Interesting. That's really funny. Yeah, they really had them separated back in the day.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. I didn't realize it having played it when I was younger, so I felt like that was a fun fact to bring into the game. And then the other fun fact regarding Deoxys was the different forms of Deoxys. Which,
that's a good point, yeah.
So it was split so that if you have Fire Red, you get one form, while Leaf Green, you get the other. Fire Red is the attack form, Leaf Green is the defense form.
Yeah, and then like Ruby and Sapphire have another form, and then Emerald has like a fourth. There's like 4 forms. I remember reading about that. And what's wild is if you trade your Deoxys over to one of those other games, the form changes. So you can't like catch an attack form in Fire Red and then trade it as a defense form over to Leaf Green. Like, when you trade it, it changes forms, is my understanding of how it works, which is just kind of bonkers.
Yeah.
So depending on if you wanted to go to a tournament like with a specific form of Deoxys, you'd have to move your whole dang team over to that copy of the game. What were you gonna say? Sorry, I think I interrupted.
No, I was just saying I thought that was a really cool, interesting fact that I had no idea about until I did a little bit of research on it.
Nice. Austin, I know you're a big Deoxys fan, right? Did you know that?
I'm not super knowledgeable about the Deoxys things, other than I think he looks really cool and he's fun.
Yeah, absolutely fair. Yeah. Alright, so looking at the facts, the things I've got here, this may just be a short episode because honestly, I only have a couple more notes. My fun facts are just weird things that happened in the game. I love at the beginning when you're like ready to leave for your home. This may have even been the original, but it struck me as funny again in this. Where your mom goes, "Well, all boys leave home. It said so on the TV." Like, I just imagine your 10-year-old like just packing up to leave, and your mom being like, "Well, I would be worried about this, but the television's told me this was normal. So goodbye, son." That cracked me up. I think it's absolutely... I know this is in the original, but especially by the fact that we're at a Gen 3 remake, I think it's absolutely insane that experience share is locked behind not seeing, but catching 50 different types of Pokemon. That's a third of the roster, dude. Like, that's bonkers, okay? I think that's absolutely insane. I cannot believe they left that in. Like, because the whole point of the experience share is, like, you catch a Pokemon that's a lot weaker than your team, and it lets you easily get them up to with the rest of your team, which is a great quality of life feature. Why would you save that until someone had caught a third of the entire roster of the game? What the heck? Like, Christian, that's not even an option for you, because you've made a rule that if you catch a Pokemon, it's done. So you'd have to get rid of 50 Pokemon just to get the experience share in this game.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna be without it.
Yeah, wow. Like, I've just been catching everything and putting it in my box, because I'm not repeating Pokemon, but I'm not repeating Pokemon that were, like, in the Hall of Fame, so I'm giving myself, like, catch a random thing, put it in the box kind of a deal. But, yeah, it's just bonkers. And then my last little fun fact I have, and then I'm actually straight up out, and either y'all have to come up with something or we're ending the podcast early, because I don't know what else to say, is, I bet you, unless you've played the original, neither of y'all have noticed this, because, again, we're using emulators, so everyone's using save states constantly, right? No one's actually saving the game and then loading it. Why would you do that? That's inconvenient, right? But this game has a fascinating feature that I'd love y'all to check out at least once before the next podcast, because it was really revolutionary on the original hardware. And Austin, you in particular, this is kind of a lifesaver for you that I think you'd really appreciate. And apparently it gave the programmers like a nightmare to make it work, but they did in the end. There's a feature that when you save your game, close it, and load it like the normal way, when you load it back up, it gives you a recap of the last 5 important events that you did in the game to give you an idea of what you were doing last.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, when you load it back up, it'll be like, caught a Wynot on Route 205, battled a trainer and won, visited the Poke Center, bought 3 and it'll tell you the last 5 things you did, and then in black and white little replay, and then load you back into the game so you can be like, oh yeah, I remember I was headed this way. That is the type of feature I have heard Austin, like, not that exact thing, but some kind of like, what was I doing last time I played this? I've heard you beg for that feature in like many, many different RPGs, Austin.
Oh, this is cool.
Yeah, you're checking it out now? Yeah. Pretty neat, huh? Yeah.
A flashback.
Yeah, it's just straight up, especially as a kid on a mobile system, like,
Why don't more
that was
do this?
I know, they did it one time in this one-off remake, and then it was never seen again in anything else ever.
Bonkers.
Yeah.
This
yeah.
is
I thought
so
you'd get a,
good.
I thought you'd get a kick out of that. Yeah. All right. On that note, I'm gonna be honest, fellas. I know we're headed towards the conclusion here, and actually, it's gonna be into the season as well. Maybe it's a little bit lackluster, but honestly, as hard as we've been pushing through this, I'm okay with it being a bit of a gentle breeze, and as we're heading towards the end of this season. Is there anything else y'all want to add before we close out this particular podcast?
The only thing I kind of just reminded myself of is a difference between yellow and coming and playing this game as like a FireRed. I vividly remember the rival as soon as you go to get your first Pokemon, your rival being even more over the top obnoxious and shoving me on the ground to take a Pokemon. And it was nice that he didn't push me this time.
He's just regular rude. I guess that is one thing also we're talking. You're missing out on Team Rocket now, too. You know, you just have actual... I mean, you get Rocket, but not Jesse and James and Meowth.
True, yeah.
I guess since we do have Future Proof, I don't have to pretend like we don't know things in the future. Is there a part of this game that you remember from the original that you're like, dear God, I'm not looking forward to doing that again? Because I know there is for me. And there's got to be for you, too.
Now, I might be missing the gens up, but is this the one that has the, like, the door? I can't even remember how to describe it.
No, it's not the one with the infinite respawning door ninja puzzle. That was Gen 2.
Okay, good.
We don't have to do that till next season.
It's quite the opposite. There's a part that I'm really looking forward to.
Okay, what's that part? What is that part?
Finally beating Giovanni.
Yeah! Yeah, you get some revenge here, man. This is finally your chance at redemption. That's fantastic. The part I thought you might be dreading, Austin, in particular, that I'm mildly dreading, is that I think Christian, because we said we'd stop at Gym 4, Gym 4, but there's a little bit of open-endedness. I think you already did Sylph Co, Christian, but Austin and I have not. And there's that sliding floor puzzle that's like several floors deep in this game, is there not?
Yes,
yeah.
It is still there.
It's still there. So, do you remember that at all, Austin? Are you dreading that, or did it not?
I think so, but I think it was very self-explanatory, and I think I blitzed right through it the first time.
Oh, man. All right. It's just me, then. It's not that hard, but I don't like it.
I just have one recommendation for you.
What's that?
Turn off fast forward before you do it.
Well, yes, that is true.
I tried it with fast forward, and it was so bad.
Well, yeah, and y'all are like on 10 times fast forward too. I don't know how y'all even walk with that stuff on.
I only do 10 times when I am grinding. I play 2 times every other time.
I play normal most of the time, and then go to times 2 when I'm grinding. The power's gone to your heads.
Gotta go fast.
Oh my gosh. Well, fellas, that's all I got on this one, at least. Like, I feel like this is obviously a shorter one because I don't think there's as much interesting to talk about. But I again, at the risk of tipping my hand, I think this is the most fun I've actually had doing the podcast. Sure, it's a little bit samey, and I wish I had some more interesting things to bring up. But if I was so far out of what we've played, if someone said, "Hey, where should I start playing Pokemon out of what we've done?" I'd start them here well before I'd start them on any of the other games. But I don't know how you guys are feeling so far, but I'm enjoying this kind of breezy revisit of the first gen so far.
I would definitely agree with that.
I should have said someone's name. I'm very sorry. It's my fault. All right. On that note, we're just going to call it there. Fellas, thanks for joining us. Next time, the Elite Four and the end of the season. And then we'll have to figure out what we're going to do next. Thank you very much.
Okay. Oh, I'm still recording.